Good afternoon, fellow trustees, members of the public that may be joining us. The Napa Valley College Board of Trustees regular meeting is now called to order at approximately 4:35 in the afternoon. Catherine, can you please do roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Trustee Baker.
Here.
Trustee Dodd.
Here.
Trustee Goff.
Here.
Trustee Iverson.
Here.
Trustee Rios.
Here.
I could do new student trustee William Shull, but he has actually not been given the oath yet, so I don't think we'll count him, but we know you're here. Trustee Baldini.
Here.
And Trustee Segura.
Here.
Thank you. Present.
Now we're on 2.2, Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Iverson, will you please do us the favor of getting us started?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all.
Justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. 2.3, it's the adoption of the agenda. Would anybody like to pull any of the items on the, I'm sorry. Does everybody agree with the agenda?
Yes. Move for approval.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Sorry, was that Trustee Goff or Jennifer?
It was Jennifer.
Okay. Moved by Trustee Iverson, second by Trustee Baker. All in favor? Trustee Baker.
Oh.
Trustee, look, I need to do my due diligence. Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Goff?
Aye.
Trustee Dodd?
Aye.
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Rios?
Aye.
Trustee Baldini?
Aye.
And that's an aye for me as well. So we are now on public comment on closed session items. 3.1. We will be discussing public comment. Sorry, Catherine, I know we went through this. At this time, the board will devote a total of up to 15 minutes to hear comments regarding closed session agenda items. Individual comments will be limited to a 5-minute reading. Do we have any close comments on the closed item, Catherine?
No, we do not.
Thank you very much. Agenda for closed session will be 4.1, conference with labor negotiators, and 4.2, public employee evaluation. We will try to return by 5:30. It could be sooner. Thank you for staying with us, and trustees, I'll see you at closed session. Thank you for staying with us. We're back in public session. We have nothing to report from closed. And so we're on 6.1 and public comment. This public comment opportunity is governed by the State of California Brown Act. By definition, this is an opportunity to hear concerning perspectives and differing vantage points. The board is not able under the Brown Act to engage in any level of conversation or discussion, but we look forward to this opportunity to gather community input. At this time, the Board of Trustees will devote up to 15 minutes to review comment to the Board of Trustees regarding any subject not appearing as an agenda item for this meeting, but over which the board has jurisdiction. The public may request that the board place an item related to the business of the district on future board agenda. No action or discussion will occur at this time on such items. Review of each comment shall last no longer than 5 minutes. We did not get any general public comment cards, and so we go on to our agenda.
May I ask if any public comment was submitted by letters or any other form?
No, we
Yeah.
did not receive any.
We did get one. Catherine from Ali Timar, and I don't know if you were CC'd on that email. I apologize. I probably should have forwarded that over to you. But I know the rest of the board was, and she did ask for it to be read out loud. And I have it in front of me. I just pulled it up just because I recalled it, so I'm happy to read it right now if everyone's okay with that.
Oh, no, please do. If you have it with you, go ahead.
Dear members of the Napa Valley College Board of Trustees, I am writing to object to the handling of the public meeting of the Napa Valley College Board of Trustees on September 10, 2020. I listened to the live radio broadcast of the meeting with particular interest in item 10.2, update on Upper Valley campus. I was aware of letters written to the board concerning the proposed lease of a large part of the campus to the city of St. Helena, and I expected to hear acknowledgement of the letters as public comment. In lieu of an in-person comment being available, written communication was the only option for the public comment at the meeting. During the meeting, the letters were identified by the board as from people from the past and were dismissed unread. Not only was the content of the letters not made public, but the subject was not identified and the identity of the letter writers was not noted. The so-called people from the past who wrote the letters are Dr. Diane Woodruff, former president and superintendent of Napa Valley College District and former chancellor of the California Community College System, and Dr. Thomas Timar, retired professor in Graduate School of Education at the University of California, Davis. Professor Timar's area of expertise is in school finance and school law. A third letter written by Ms. Bonnie Thoreen, the dean of the Upper Valley campus, an educational leader there for 10 years, submitted a letter of concern as well. To have the input of dedicated, experienced educational leaders with expertise and deep commitment to Napa Valley College disregarded and dismissed is more than unfortunate. Aside from the matters of respect and courtesy, the board's appearance to be moving forward hastily on a decision that has only recently been made available, made public and has not been available for public review calls into question the board's commitment to the community it has been elected to represent. An earlier distance public meeting on August 5th appeared to be public relations presentation in support of the current operations at the Upper Valley campus. The reason for exploring the needs of the community was said to be the fact that the state no longer provided funding for the college and that the funding had to come from community resources. At that time, the proposed lease of the facility was not discussed, even though since the fall of 2019. Blanket to cover over long-term decisions that should be made in the light. Meetings should be teleconferenced so that the public can see who is speaking and can address the board and can be made known to people attending the meeting and other distance members of the community. Radio transmission is a one-way street that denies public participation. I write this as one of the people from the past with the hopes that the board will take its time in making a decision to foreclose the only access to public higher education in the north part of our county. Should you decide to proceed with a lease to the short-term enough to return the campus and to have a provision for an early exit from the agreement as college education offerings become available. 5 years is a very long time, long enough for people to have forgotten their college. Sincerely, Ali Timar.
I would like to offer a public apology for Dr. Woodruff and Ms. Doreen and Ali Timar. I didn't mean it to come across as that way. I admire you for what you've done in the past and how you brought the Upper Valley College campus up to be. I'm sure it wasn't anything easy with politics and fundraising and all that good stuff that comes with bringing a project such as that. I commend you and I congratulate you, and my heartfelt apologies for having referred to you as such people from the past.
I would like to point out, however, that the letters were made public. They were part of the agenda and they were in board docs.
And that's what I pointed out. I said, and I urge you trustees to go ahead and get yourself familiarized with the letters that were included with the public comments. So.
And I would also share, Chair, too, that, we did all acknowledge that we had read the 3 letters that were posted on the website that Trustee Baker just mentioned. And it might be difficult for folks to see that, and perhaps knowing that some folks might be listening, not on Zoom, that, we could just acknowledge that we have read the letters and, but we're all learning. But I do recall that everybody had acknowledged that they said that they had read the letters, and so they were not dismissed by any means.
Good. Thank you. Anything else?
No, I just think moving forward in the future, when we do get those letters, I think the best practice would be to read them into the record. As Jeff just stated, there are some people that may not be able to access the website at the time that all of this is happening. So I would just like to see us do that in the future.
Yeah, okay. And also, hopefully, we'll find a better way to hear public comment from, and not only on a letter, but so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so we go on to 7.1. Annual review and approval of privileges granted to the student trustee and included in board policy BP 2015 student member.
This is if you can open this up, these privileges are something that we identify each year, and it is the board's prerogative to grant these. We have in the past provided all of these listed. This is very small, and unfortunately, I can put on my glasses and get closer. I'm sorry. So the privilege to attend student trustee orientation, make and second motions, privilege to attend closed session. We usually do not, and we have not ever approved that in the history of the college. The privilege to receive compensation, the privilege to serve as a team, as a term commencing on May. This year is a bit different. The privilege to cast an advisory vote. And this is captured in our AP 2515. So you would be looking for a motion that included all of these, or the exception to that rule.
So would anybody care to discuss this or move to approve?
I'll move to approve as presented.
Well, I have a question. It disappeared, but there were two items on there. One, the start of the term, which it says May 15th.
Yes, because of the Oscar, you might be able to address this, or Ben is on, but I think Oscar probably could address the timing issue that we had.
Part of the issue we had is that the trustees were unable to meet in a timely manner to move things forward for the regular dates or times of elections, which are held in early May or late April. And so we had to we delay things until now, last week. But we also consulted our legal counsel to make certain that we weren't in any violation of any kind, either of the bylaws or the Constitution for student government. And the members of student government were in favor of delaying the actual elections in this process here until now.
Okay, and the second my second question is on the privilege to attend the closed sessions. We've never done it while I've been on the board. So I would think we would want to eliminate that unless the board feels like we would allow that.
Well, you know what, I wondered about that myself. And then I thought, well, it says other than closed session on personnel or collective bargaining, which is that's generally what we do most of the time. So there's only very few times when that would even apply. And then I guess it would be by invitation, or I don't know.
Well, it doesn't say by invitation, and we
Yeah.
have matters like legal matters that come up, real estate matters when there's, when we have had the sale of property before. There are actually a number of other matters that come up in closed session. So I'm kind of asking, I'm not, telling. I just want to make sure we as a board decide, well, no, we're going to eliminate that, or we are going to allow it, and not just approve it without actually having thought about it.
I'm with Trustee Rios. I would even second an amended motion on eliminating it. Just means as long as I've been on the board, we've never allowed it. So
Jennifer, would you like to amend your?
Sure. I will amend my motion to approve striking the option for the student trustee to attend closed session.
And I will second your amended motion.
Thank you very much. So we move to approve by striking that particular item. And second by Trustee Iverson. All in favor? Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Dodd?
Aye.
Trustee Goff?
Aye.
Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Rios?
Aye.
Trustee Baldini? Trustee Baldini?
Still here.
Is he mute, or is he muted, or is he?
I'm checking on
Oh,
that.
here he is. Yeah, he's muted.
He's muted. There he
Yes.
is.
Aye.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much. And that's an aye for me, so it passes unanimously. And so 7.2, we go to the point. Swearing in of a student trustee.
I think you're doing the honors.
Yes, but I am so sorry. I forgot the young man's name.
Will.
William Scholl. It's on his picture.
I can't see him.
And we should let him know that even though he doesn't get to go into closed session, if we ever meet in person again, we'll still feed you.
Yes.
Okay.
Here we are.
Okay. Will, are you ready?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So repeat after me. We're going to go line by line.
Okay.
I shall do solemnly swear that I will
I, Will Scholl, do solemnly swear that I will
support and defend the Constitution of the United States
support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies,
and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I will take this obligation freely
that I will take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties into which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties into which I'm about to enter.
And you're going to be signing your life away. Welcome to the Board of Trustees. Congratulations on having been elected as such by your peers. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Will Scholl. My mom actually does work at the college. She works for social media. I'm not too sure exactly what her title is. This is my second year at NVC. I applied for a tag transfer to UC Davis, what has been my dream school forever. And, hopefully if I get it, I'll be there this time next year.
Great.
You'll get it, Will. Keep on working hard.
Yep. Welcome, Will.
Welcome.
Welcome. Yes. We're on to 8.1, Academic Senate Report. Dr. Tejada, are you with us?
I am here. Good evening. Good evening, trustees, and President Kraft. Hi. So this, the Senate, and just my screen, I'm sorry. Okay, so the Senate has completed putting into at least sending through the transmittal process, or sending to the transmittal process. Let's see, three more board policies and APs, BP 3050, which is being renumbered 7115 on Institutional Code of Ethics certificates, AP 3050 being renamed 7115 Instructional Code of Ethics, and AP 5530 Student Rights and Grievances. These are all gone through initial review from the work that the Policy Revision Task Force did this past summer. We are also getting ready to launch our Culturally Responsive Pedagogy Workshop. It starts on Monday. We are just completing the third session of the Distance Ed Pedagogy Workshop this week. And the Senate is preparing for the accreditation visit we're reviewing and revising our documents, bylaws, and other documents to get ready for the accreditation visit. The faculty is continuing to work remotely and online, and with all of the, I'll say with an increase in workload and with continued dedication and commitment to serving our students. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 8.2, Administrative Confidential Senate Report. Mr. Harris?
Good evening. Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, Board. Pleasure to be here tonight, and good evening to everybody in attendance. First and foremost, I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the Administrative Senate to welcome Dr. Alan Dixon to the campus as the interim dean of career development career education and workforce development. We've all met him virtually. Look forward to the day we can meet him face to face. Although at the last meeting, he had a 49ers banner in the background while he was living in Wisconsin. So I thought that was pretty bold. But anyway, since our last meeting, at our last group meeting here at the board, I reported that the Administrative Senate would be reviewing our ethics statement as part of our overall bylaw review. And we've met, and we took the opportunity to review some statements from other colleges, as well as the ACA, the Association of Academic Administrators for the Triple C, CCC, and we look forward to completing that, although I did find some documentation that we're not too far off. It's an older document, so we can revise that, so we're looking forward to doing that. Last Friday, our executive board or executive group met with Charo and Christina Rivera in the Office of Human Resources regarding professional development programming specific to administrative and confidential staff. And we're very pleased to learn that there is going to, Charo and her office is working on some very robust professional development related to a year-long program, a project that goes beyond what most people would call Administrator 101, which is learning how to be an administrator, but looking at things more globally related to collective bargaining agreements, employment statutes, campus processes, things like that that often get lost or are in a binder somewhere and get put on a shelf and not seen for a while. So we're very heartened and look forward to working with our colleagues in that regard. And finally, at our last Administrative Senate meeting, Catherine Kittle, who suggested that we include a did you know agenda item for people to give some information. Well, Catherine provided us a walkthrough for board docs where people can review all the board policies, all of the administrative policies in process, and that was a very educational program that Catherine did, sort of ad hoc, and it gives folks a good idea of where people can look, because sometimes folks get caught up and don't know where to go. So Catherine walked us through the board doc area where you can look at all the policies and procedures in process and what's in place now. So it's been an active month as we continue to support the college campus, the college activities, and the college and the students at our college. And that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good stuff. 8.3, Associated Students of Napa Valley College report and the new president, Yusby Jimenez. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm right here.
There you are. Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to tell us?
I'm not sure if you would like me to talk about my plans as
Yes,
president
please.
or my envisions for the ASMVC.
That works very well. Thank you.
So it has been brought to my attention by a few students this semester. They aren't getting the information they need. So I wanted to possibly create a portal on Canvas where they're able to receive more information, such as news and counseling information, specifically transfer information. So that's one of the major things that I want to work towards. Another thing I want to work towards is being more communicated with the students, with the student body, and having a more kind of a general idea of being able to help them out. Like, oh, I know a student, they were having so much trouble with getting into Canvas. Their account wasn't connecting. So I want them to have like a different portal so they could reach out to other students maybe or other staff where they are able to get the help they need almost immediately, because I know with Canvas and Zoom meetings, it's almost impossible to you know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. And no, it's great. That's wonderful. I like what you have planned. So know that we'll be supportive of you, and those are things that we want to hear. Thank you, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
8.4, Classified Association Report. Ms. Mall is not with us. 8.5, Classified Senate Report. Mr. Shoemaker is not with us either. Uh, 8.6, Faculty Association Report.
Hi, Christy wants me to give the report, so I'm going to be Christy.
Yes, please do.
Okay, thank you. So she wanted me to let you know that the negotiations are ongoing, and we are optimistic that our part-time office hours work group will have a recommendation this week. And I think that concludes her report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. 8.7, President and Cabinet Report.
Thank you. I want to say that was the best report that Christy has ever given. No, we missed Christy. Thank you, Arlene, for jumping in there. We have several things, as you can see, and I am calling on some cabinet members and other leaders to assist. We'll just take them real quickly here. There's a long list, but we don't have to spend a lot of time on these, so it's just a brief update. So on Upper Valley campus, I've asked Sarah to I should say Vice President Sarah Parker to update us briefly on some academic issues with Upper Valley campus. You can do that, Sarah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Hi, good evening, Board of Trustees. Congratulations to President Jimenez and Trustee Scholl. Welcome. I look forward to working with you. And well, the focus of my very first topic here on this set of bullet points is Upper Valley campus. I also would like to extend welcome to Interim Senior Dean of Career Education, Dr. Alan Dixon, who will be playing a significant role with the planning underway around Upper Valley campus, because the position of Upper Valley Campus Director and the Academic Culinary Program are both in his areas. Dr. Dixon, I think you're here with us this evening.
I am. Thank you for the welcome, and I look forward to working closely with everyone to get these projects moving forward in a favorable direction.
Great, thanks so much. I really am grateful for the chance I had to work closely with the Career Education Division prior to Dr. Dixon starting, because it gave me a chance to learn about these areas, including hospitality, culinary, and tourism management. So as you've heard in my prior reports, plans are in motion to establish an advanced credit culinary program. I want to share very broad details about the curriculum work that our current full-time leave replacement professor, Elena Sirignano, is doing in this area. We currently have a beginning certificate in culinary that is 5 units, and we have an intermediate certificate that is an additional 6 units. And this is a great way for students to get started and out into the workforce. Both of these offer students work experience opportunities, such as the NVC cafe and food truck, but those work experiences are not required as part of the curriculum. All of the courses for these certificates are and will continue to be offered on the main campus, but an advanced culinary certificate that is being proposed right now through our faculty-led curriculum process, with hopes of having it approved for fall 2021, is an 11-unit hefty course that would cover skills such as global cuisine, butchery, and advanced cooking and pastry. And these advanced students would be based out of the newly renovated kitchen on the Upper Valley campus, which can accommodate up to 16 students at a time. And as we hope to build the program over the next several years, it will be possible for 2 cohorts to be accommodated each semester. These students would be required to complete multiple work experiences, which could occur on site, such as the Upper Valley campus restaurant or supporting the food enthusiast program. Or they could be placed locally, made possible through many of the long-standing relationships and partnerships we have with industry in the area. I wanted to say that in the context of consideration of a potential lease and in response to strong community interest, as well as my own interest in ensuring that we are able to accommodate what we expect to be eventually a very strong interest in this advanced culinary program, while also offering a robust set of community education and non-credit offerings. I did a quick space use analysis of Upper Valley campus over the last 5 years. The largest semester that we ever offered in the last 5 years served 145 students total. That was 4 years ago in fall of 2016. And not since 2017 have we ever had more than 2 classes being offered on site in Upper Valley campus in an overlapping time slot. Most semesters, we never had more than 1 classroom being used at a time. So should we pursue a lease with the city of St. Helena, I think we could accommodate the expansion of the culinary program and comfortably grow our community ed and non-credit offerings by up to 5-fold over the next 4 to 5 years. And what I envision is that a partnership could create a great synergy that would provide valuable opportunities for students in this culinary program. To have people, post-COVID on site would mean more knowledge about our offerings, more opportunities for imagining partnerships, and likely increase in the use of potential event rentals and bring opportunities to generate those work experience for hospitality and culinary services. So I look forward to continuing to update you as these plans progress through the curriculum process.
Thank you, Sarah.
Dr. Kraft?
Yes.
Vice President Parker? Just regarding the Upper Valley campus, and it sounds really exciting about that culinary program. And Vice President Parker, I appreciate how you're really excited about it as well. I always look at, there's a clear, some well-experienced and thoughtful people like the idea of having a culinary program in the Upper Valley, and that's where the campus we've always thought about it being is in the Upper Valley campus. And speaking with a few friends who have gone through the program, their challenge is that there's a significant commute time to make it up to the Upper Valley campus, and it's tough to find these students that went through the program were living in American Canyon and City of Napa. I said, why don't we do it at the main campus? It just seems to be a little unnecessary to hold that credential, and they kind of almost regret not going. I don't know if DDC has a program or something that they had mentioned, but it just seems to be more practical. And so I know we're getting a lot of comments from public and really and very thoughtful educators about invigorating this program, and that should be a focus of the Upper Valley campus. But it's a very small sample size, right? But it seems to be, I don't really actually know if it's the most practical spot to have the culinary. And I would love to kind of, as we kind of work through this and go through it, and you're talking about the stats from 2017 onward, it almost seems that's actually kind of right. I mean, I feel like the restaurant business from 17 to February of 2020 was pretty hot. There's a lot of jobs available and restaurants opening. So it's not a matter of, I think, of people wanting to get students not being there. It's just maybe the campus, and I don't know if it's the commute was perhaps a drawback for encouraging new students. So kind of blabbering on here, but something I was excited about too is, and which probably no longer an opportunity in light of COVID and everything going on, is the wine train that we're talking about, building a kitchen and having that be a focus of the main campus. And that kind of public and private partnership. Like I said, I don't know if that's realistic, but I had always kind of thought in the back of my mind, that might actually incentivize more students to enter our program by having it be a little bit closer to where there's more housing and there's less of a commute time.
That was a lot of information, and it's good, Jeff. We will absolutely factor that. A couple big changes that Sarah referred to is this would be credit as opposed to the previous certificate program, which would then create a much more desirable, at least financial situation for students up there. But these are all absolutely factors that need to be looked at, and we will for sure. I would also say,
great point, Dr. Kraft.
Yeah. Thank you. I would also share just really quickly is we've slowed down a little bit. St. Helena, as you all know, had evacuations, so we are still ongoing in our conversations with the city, but it's been interrupted for the last couple of weeks. So Bob and team are working there.
Dr. Kraft, just before we move on, and
yeah.
I kind of feel compelled to say that I would be opposed to moving the program from the Up Valley campus. given the history of it and the focus of the Up Valley and St. Helena and surrounding restaurants and all the wine activity that happens up here. I think it's situated in a perfect spot, and would hate to see that move. I think that would create more problems for us at Up Valley as far as just the overall attendance and use of the facility.
This is a good conversation. We will continue. Know that culinary is on main campus, and we're using our kitchen and facilities here for instruction. And it will also hopefully be there in the future as we work it through. But this is already, we have good spirited conversation. I like it. Thank you.
Yes.
Sarah, let's go to fall enrollments if you can do that second.
Great. I think there's just a slide that will be opened up here for a quick snapshot. In this summary slide, what you're going to see is that we have some slight declines in enrollment here at NVC this fall, and these declines do mirror what is happening across the state. In fact, almost identically across the state. At census, the average community college in California was down 12.2% in enrollments. We're down 9%, and down 7% in head count across the state. We're down 13%. One thing I'll point out is that there's a much more significant drop percentage-wise in our non-credit sections, down 44% as compared to credit sections, down 10%. You can also notice we've reduced the number of sections commensurate with our reduced enrollment, and class size has held steady at about 22 students on average per class. The unit count per student is the highest it's been in the last 3 years, so that is something very good to see. And like I can't predict what is going to happen. I hope to see some increased demand in the spring, perhaps even an uptick, but very unpredictable, so it's hard to tell.
Thank you. And we'll there's a lot more of this coming your way, board and constituents, as we kind of unfold. There's persistence questions we're curious about, and persistence meaning re-enrollment term over term to pursue your degree or certification. Thank you, sir. Any questions on that? Good.
Dr. Kraft, do we know where other campuses are in terms of their enrollment? Are their enrollment numbers down as well? Do we suspect?
Yeah, they are.
Other colleges.
And yes, and Sarah hit that. You might say again in terms of.
I missed that. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, across the state, we are actually down almost exactly in keeping with the trend that is the average across all California community colleges, both in headcount and in enrollment.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed it earlier.
No, it's fine. It's tough. There are a couple of exceptions, but generally speaking, on my CEO calls each week, this is a major concern, and it's the transition and working relationships. All of it right now. So we're doing a bit better than some, and I'm really encouraged by the unit count. So the load. So, okay. So let's continue to move on here. Thank you. We have had a devastating fire and some terrible events locally, and some of you were evacuated. And I've asked Chief Amber Wade to report quickly on the evacuation center. Once again, Napa Valley College has stepped up, and I thought it would be appropriate, because she and team clearly did great work in helping us, run an effective evac center.
Thank you, Dr. Kraft. Yeah, hopefully the slide will be coming up here shortly. Just to give you all kind of an overview of what happened, it was Monday, September 28th. I got the call really early in the morning from the county asking us to stand by to be another evacuation shelter. And it must be noted that a couple months prior to this, Matt Christensen, the director of facilities, and I met with the county and did a walkthrough of our facility because of all of the COVID issues that could arise. So we were all on the same page with this. So the first thing we did, I notified the cabinet and met with some facilities people at the gym. We always put down the tarps first, and we got everything prepared on our side of things. The county started to come in around 9 o'clock that morning, and by that evening we had it was approximately 84 evacuees that we housed that evening, and I would say maybe about 10 in the parking lots. So the county's number one goal, especially during this COVID outbreak, is to get people into hotels. So that's why you'll see the numbers up there kind of drop as we went along. We had many people that just showed up at the college because of our prior shelters. So they feel comfortable here, they come here first. And that's a good thing. You know, I'm glad that they feel this is at home. It's sad that I'm recognizing little kids and telling them, oh my gosh, you're growing up. It shouldn't be that way, but at least we're providing that resource for the community. So along with the evacuees, we also had the animal shelter, and we housed those down in our racquetball courts. It was a little different than last time because we had I believe they're called We Care Center that had to fully evacuate up from, I believe, St. Helena. And so there were 88 cats that came in and they're actually still in our racquetball courts. They're all going home tomorrow. So, I
was gonna come up and visit.
Oh, I almost took home a couple cats a few times. But yes, it was all a success. Every time we have this, I'm always in shock about the people that are in attendance. I mean, their spirits and the way they help out, and it's getting more and more smooth as we go on. There were no issues. We did not have any, crime or anything happen. And so today they are actually closing up shop today. In an hour. They'll be closing at 7, and the county will then move out. And like I said, then starting tomorrow, once the last of the cats get moved back into their homes, we will be closing up shop. Hopefully for a while, but the last one we had was last year. So a lot of the county workers said, "Oh, we'll see you in a couple of weeks." I said, "No, no." But, But once again, like I said, it's Napa County is something special, and we all work together well to help our community. And so thank you all for allowing this to happen here, and facilities and my department that really stepped up and provided the assistance needed.
So that means that the animals that are still there are there because they're We Care and are going back to St. Helena, not because people went home and didn't take their critters.
No, I believe there were only 2 animals that were not accounted for, and the county shelter took them. So yeah, the 88 cats are going back to St. Helena.
Oh, fun.
How about the dogs behind me?
Yeah.
Yes. They're not going home.
Thank you.
That's good. Thank you. Thanks, Amber, and thanks for a wonderful job. Bob is going to update us a little bit on student housing, and Vice President Bob Parker.
Thank you. So just as some movement with the Upper Valley campus lease was delayed due to the fires, we had a little bit of a delay in our movement in the CEQA process, also due to the fires. We had received responses, and if you remember, our initial expectation was that we would be bringing CEQA documents to you for approval tonight. That's been delayed a bit. That won't happen until November. We had received comments and had drafted a response. Our CEQA consultant had drafted a response. One of the comments came from the city of Napa, and we had set up a meeting with the representatives from the city of Napa that was supposed to happen on September 28th. But of course, the glass fire started on September 27th. And both our CEQA consultant and the attorney that we're working with were both evacuated. and so we had to cancel that meeting. Those meetings have been rescheduled, and some follow-up meetings took place this week. But our filings will be finalized and brought to you for your approval at the November 12th meeting. This will not cause, we're actually a little ahead of the game with CEQA, so this won't cause any delays in the project or in the CEQA process at all. We are still moving forward. The construction documents will be 50% complete by tomorrow. We have a meeting, a pre-intake meeting with the Division of State Architects scheduled for Monday. We will be interviewing third-party operators for the housing here on campus, the student housing, interviewing third-party operator candidates sometime next week. We have already scheduled, already selected, as we shared with you, our investment banking firm to work on the bonds. Next step would be to select our 501c3 owner. And then at that point, we would be, all of the pieces would be in place, and we would be looking at scheduling out. We won't do financial close until around this time next year, which would be when we'd be ready to start construction. And so over the next 12 months, we'll be working with all of our consultants, looking at the best way to structure the project itself. You may have read, I know a couple of you read, that Santa Rosa Junior College is working through the California School Finance Authority to issue their bonds. They still work with an investment banking firm. It goes through CFSA, working with their 501c3. They're a little further ahead than we are because they are getting ready to break ground. But in a year from now, we'll be in that same place. And during that time, we'll be investigating all of those options as well. And so that is the update on student housing.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Bob, what was the city's concern? What was their comment related to?
Well, they had a couple of comments. One of the comments had to do with our exemption from the requirements, the zoning requirements and the licensing requirements for the city. One of the things, and we've talked about this, one of the things that we'll be bringing back next month will be the resolution declaring our exemption as an educational institution from that. And then there were also some questions about traffic and path of travel and things of that nature, which we're addressing with them as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I've asked Senior Dean Robin Darkangelo to speak briefly about student equity and inclusivity and a little bit of an update there. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Kraft. Just want to give some highlights on equity efforts that are happening on campus right now. As you know, Dr. Harris and SEAL, and for those of you who do not know anything about SEAL, they conduct research on experiences of historically underserved students. They conducted survey work with our African American students, and we are working on building support and strategies to help those students based on the report. In the upcoming equity and inclusivity meeting, which is Monday, I've asked Jeanette McClendon to provide an update on the work, activities, and the support that is currently happening on campus in the Emoja program. In addition to that, we are currently recruiting additional groups that Dr. Harris will work with in October and survey, so we can determine where the other equity gaps exist. The students that will be participating in these focus groups will receive a $50 gift card to a bookstore. So the groups that we've identified that I am currently recruiting is our LGBT, our Latinx, Asian Filipino, white students that are low income, specifically our foster youth, And one of the reasons we've also identified that Latinx is because we're going to use some of this, the outcome of the survey work to help us when we're building the strategies for the new HSI grant. But I'm also been communicating to Krista Trujillo so that I can share that information once we receive the report back on all of these students, and she wants to share this with faculty. Nothing has been set yet. Just tentatively, she talked about maybe sharing it at Flex Day in the spring, but nothing has been decided, so I'm just giving you a tentative update. So that's exciting. And then training efforts that we are currently working on. We're working closely with the RP group right now, specifically developing training opportunities with HR, so Charo. We're working in that arena, setting up training for classified and confidential administrators. And then also Krista is working with Dr. Cooper from the RP group to set up training for faculty and really, moving our equity efforts. The RP group, Dr. Cooper is really excited about helping us and providing support, financial support, and provide training. So we're super excited about that. The next thing is we are just starting conversations about basic needs planning. Nancy Tamarisk and Ben Quesada are just starting those conversations so we can start, building and supporting our basic needs issues that are on campus. And then finally, I have invited Dr. Alex Guerrera to present on transformative education. He's going to be doing a 60-minute presentation on Monday to the equity group regarding its purpose, responsiveness, and relationship. So I'm happy to extend the invitation to anyone that wants to attend the equity meeting on Monday and hear his presentation. I will also be recording it and putting it on the equity website. And then finally, just to wrap up, we are sending another 5 staff to our e-convening USC Leadership Alliance training. We have the opportunity to send 5 people each month, and I'm happy to say that I've sent the names to Kathy today so that she's the one communicating with that group, and each month we will send a new, some of the same, but we're trying to focus primarily on providing that support to our faculty. And I'm super excited about that training opportunity. So thank you, Dr. Kraft, for giving us that platform. Any questions? That's all I have.
It's a great update. And if someone does have a question, feel free to do that right now.
I have a quick question. I don't know if this is the right person or time. I'm just wondering about the new position that was created. I can't remember the title, but having something to do with equity and what's the status of that and the hiring process going to be, since we're in a hiring freeze right now?
I'm going to call on Charo next, and we can touch a little bit on that as well, even though it relates to this, if that's okay, Jennifer. Okay. All right. Thank you again, Robin. And Charo, you're out there, so maybe we'll do an update and we can talk a little bit about the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusivity. I have to constantly think about that. And I can also add comment on that, Charo, if you need.
No problem. And so, as you know, back in the last spring semester, we announced that we were engaging in a hiring freeze, with the exception of identifying some critical positions. Right now, we're actively recruiting a librarian and a respiratory tech therapist. Those are the 2 faculty positions that we are actively engaged. An additional position that we deemed that was critical, and the validation of deeming this position critical came out of the dialogues that we held over the summer and continued conversations that we continue to have, whether they're one-off conversations or just conversations within the larger groups, the equity inclusivity group, and other forums as well. And so the job description has been developed, and we are gearing up for a November or December launch on this recruitment, and the position we are hoping that we can find the right candidate to fill. And the title is Senior Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusivity. And this position will be reporting directly to Dr. Kraft, and the purpose of the position is to provide support to the entire NVC community in HR issues, in student equity issues, everywhere where we need to look at possible barriers to our students getting access to our resources and education. And so we're excited about this direction that we're going, and excited about the recruitment. And so I will put the plug in for everyone to go into your LinkedIn accounts, and once the position is posted, help us find that special candidate to help build the diversity, equity, and inclusivity department. Hopefully I answered the question. Yes, great. Okay. A+ for that one, Dr. Kraft. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Moving on, as several of my colleagues mentioned, we are working with several of our colleagues throughout the campus on training and development opportunities. I want to thank Reverend Arcangelo and also Dr. Darla Cooper of the RP group, who is working with us on creating KEYS, which is the supervisory development lab that Bob Harris, Senior Dean Bob Harris mentioned. It will be a 10-month to a 1-year program focused on providing the knowledge and tools needed to be successful as a lead manager or administrator. Additionally, I'm working with Robin as well as with Oscar de Haro and staff on additional training that will be provided for classified staff. We're currently working on providing the training, the Caring Campus, which focuses on providing the skills and knowledge on how classified staff can really reach out to students and be mindful of creating this notion that we are a caring campus, and every touch point with our students starts and creates an experience for our students and has an effect on their lifelong journey in education and into reaching their goals. So the training that I'm working with Robin and the staff of Student Affairs under the partnership also with Oscar de Haro will continue that thought of caring campus, but goes into what exactly our students go through as they're going through each step of the process, from registering all the way through graduation. Also, we are coming to the end of open enrollment. So I put the blast out there for everyone. If you haven't looked at your benefits, please look at your benefits. It closes October the 16th. I'm smiling because I feel that this year, because of our constraints with the pandemic and remote working, we were able to do open enrollment virtually, and it has worked very well. Also, on October the 20th, we will be holding a flu clinic. We have developed a wonderful partnership with our CalPERS representative from Kaiser Permanente, and we've partnered with them to offer a flu clinic that is of no cost to any of our employees. However, appointments are encouraged and will be prioritized by appointments, so walk-ins are welcome. Again, no cost. That's October the 20th, 3 to 5 in the community room. Lastly, and this is a message for everyone, we're coming up on the holidays. This has been a very, very stressful year all around. I have, every single time I'm in a meeting or doing a presentation, I try to end with stay safe, stay sane, and stay healthy. And it's good for us to remind each other that as we're going along and we're doing business and we're going about our lives and nothing is the same, nothing, to please reach out check in on folks, think about others, make sure everyone is okay. I mentioned that because I do believe last time I mentioned that our usage for our employee assistance program through Optum had increased, and actually we were 10% above other organizations who use Optum as their EAP program. We're waiting for an update on our usage, but I just want to remind everyone, if you feel the need to use it, please go onto the HR website. The company is Optum, and there are resources for everyone. So with that, trustees, Dr. Kraft, stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Oscar, I did not see anything, but I wanted to ensure that you didn't submit anything this evening, correct?
It's actually, yes, there's my year-end, and my year report that I produce every year that I share with the board, which is customary for the last few years. And so basically what this report is, it's accomplishments, the areas that each of the 22 distinct services have identified as needing improvement. It also includes their thoughts and their ideas on innovative ideas for the future. And then there's another section that I asked them to provide us for the number of students that they served in this particular year, the 1920 year. It's this year, this report is a bit larger or longer than in years past. It's 86 pages. However, again, it's 22 distinct programs that are contributed to this report. So I ask you to read it, perhaps in pieces or in parts. You'll find information very valuable, I believe. And again, it's a credit to all the programs with the student affairs and the hard work that they produce every year. The other item that I want to share with you very briefly is to the board is that in the near future you will receive a save the date for the 15th annual high school non-breakfast. As you recall, we've had this event for a number of years. It's usually a breakfast where everyone enjoys their friendship and sees each other after a year or so of not seeing each other. But this year, because of the situation we find ourselves in, it'll be virtual. And so it's going to be on Friday, the 13th of November from 8:30 to 10:45. And we have a committee that's working on the list of the presentations for that day. We have schools, representatives of schools from Napa County, from Solano County, from Sonoma County, and from Marin County. So we're expecting a large growth this year, a large crowd. But again, you all receive the save the date for that event. Thank you.
Oscar, thank you. And I know you had a rough week up there trying to dodge the smoke and stuff. So I didn't, pardon me for not listing you here tonight. But board, you should check out the student affairs report for sure. And Alan, Dr. Dixon, welcome. It's good to have you on board, and you'll get to jump in. Well, you already are jumping in, so yeah, welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Feet are absolutely in the pool. Thank you.
Awesome. We are done with the president's report and ready to go to the next item, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Number 9, consent calendar. Anybody want to? Can I get a second?
Second.
Move approval by Trustee Baldini, second by Trustee Baker. Trustee Baker. Aye. Trustee Dodd.
Aye.
Trustee Goff. Aye. Trustee Iverson.
Aye.
Trustee Rios.
Aye.
Trustee Baldini.
Aye.
And that's an aye for me as well. A student trustee Shaw.
Aye.
Thank you. So we're on to number 10, academic affairs. Dr. Sarah, is there anything you would like to tell us about that?
going to give you a little bit of context for this item. Institutional learning outcomes represent knowledge, skills, competencies that every Napa Valley College student is expected to acquire as part of their experience with every aspect of the college. So courses, programs, and student services. And ILOs also provide the guidance for individual departments and disciplines in the development of their program learning outcomes. And as part of our accreditation, we are expected to meet various institutional set standards by the ACCJC. So for example, the institution has included in all of its programs student learning outcomes appropriate at the program level. And another standard requires that all of our degree programs have a component of general education based on a carefully considered philosophy for both associate and baccalaureate degrees that is clearly stated in the catalog, based on student learning outcomes and competencies appropriate to the degree level. And I could go on, I'm sure you know that these standards are quite lengthy. In spring of 2020, the institutional learning outcomes were modified to make them the same as our general education learning outcomes, or what are known as GELOs. I like that term here. The fifth ILO on personal, academic, and career development was also modified. So the reason you see three documents is because you see the old institutional learning outcomes, you see the that they were changed to align identically with our general education learning outcomes, and you see the clean version of our updated general education learning outcomes that are now the same as our institutional learning outcomes. And the reason for behind the change to align these in this way is to ensure that the learning outcomes are assessed in the classroom, have a direct link to our mission, and ensure that the college meets our accreditation standards related to student learning outcomes and general education requirements. So these changes were approved by the Academic Senate last year in February of 2020. I'm sharing this as an informational item, and then you'll see it before you in November for action and approval.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Number 11, a public hearing. 11.1, public hearing, Napa Valley CCD 2020-2021, adoption of the final budget. Is there any discussion on that? So the public hearing is closed. So we go on to number 12, administrative services information, discussion, action items. 12.1, 2020-2021 final budget. Trustee Baker?
Yes. We the Audit and Finance Subcommittee, we met 2 days ago and got the full presentation from Bob Parker. And this was, of course, was just the update from the tentative budget that we had approved a couple months ago. And then this was, we'd had a bunch of assumptions based on what was going on with COVID and how that was going to affect potential income, cash flow, things like that. So we talked about all of that. And we have a balanced budget in spite of all of the uncertainty. We are anticipating deferrals, but that's been allowed for in the budget document. And we, as a committee, after reviewing it all, we voted to recommend approval from the full board. And if anybody has any specific questions, I can try to answer them, but Bob would probably do a better job.
No questions regarding the budget?
I will say that we are, the only thing that was really, well, again, there's a lot of uncertainty. But we did have some good news. We had some money that came in that was unanticipated, and then so we also had more property tax funding than anticipated. So that's kind of offset some of the other things that went down as a result of COVID and things like that. It was really interesting to find out that we're losing about $500,000 from not having people park at the college. So we got to find a way to rent out our parking lot or something. So, but in the meantime, we're moving on, and it's going to be probably a few tight years as things kind of level out, but we are okay. We've got decent funding in our reserves to handle cash flow issues that might arise from the deferrals. We don't have quite as much in our reserves as we have set as our goal. We're a little bit under, but we're still well above the minimum, and I think we're going to be okay.
Thank you, Trustee Baker. Questions?
Move approval.
Second.
Budget moved approval by Trustee Baldini, second by Trustee Rios. Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Dodd?
Aye.
Trustee Goff? I'll come back to her. Trustee Iverson?
Aye.
Trustee Rios?
Aye.
Trustee Baldini?
Aye.
Trustee Segura, that's me. Yes. And Student Trustee Shaw?
Aye.
Trustee Goff?
Aye.
Thank you very much. So item 13 on the agenda, Human Resources Information Discussion Action Items. Number 14, Student Affairs Information Discussion Action Items. Number 15, General Information Discussion Action Items. 15.1, Core Indicators Report for 2019-2020. Dr. Warnall.
Good evening, board members. I'm here to present the Core Indicator Report tracking our 2019-2020 performance on 5 institutional performance measures. Oops, Catherine, can you start the PowerPoint?
Can you see it? I opened it.
Oh, I don't see it. Does anybody else see it?
Okay, let me do it again. Hold on. Hang on. Where'd it go? Try again.
I have it on my screen if you want to let me share.
I could do that. Wait, I've got, no. I don't want to end the meeting. There we go. Can you see that?
Okay, there we go. Now we got it. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so my presentation is structured to cover 3 general topics, which are listed here. So first, I'll describe the purpose of the Core Indicators Report, and that's really local and internal purpose. I'll also provide some context for the institution set standards that are referenced in the report, and that's external context and very much accreditation driven. And finally, I'll highlight some key takeaways for board members as well as the campus community more generally. So first, Catherine, if you could advance to the next slide. Okay, thank you. So the purpose is that the Core Indicators Report is part of NVC's system for monitoring institutional performance. It was developed in 2013-2014 and incorporated into a series of regular reports produced by the college each year. The document included with the board agenda for tonight represents the 7th annual report of its kind. What makes the Core Indicators Report unique is that it includes an evaluation of our recent performance against locally established standards. And another feature is that it is in the form of a 1-page summary document, and the 1-page summary is what has been attached to the item in board docs. So next slide. So in terms of context, the context and particularly the institution set standards included in the report is external. So the need to establish institution set standards is driven primarily by accreditation requirements. As part of the 2013 annual report to the Accrediting Commission for Community Engineer Colleges, that's the ACCJC, our accrediting body. Member institutions were asked to identify institution set standards on 5 indicators, including successful course completion rate, the fall-to-fall persistence rate, the number of degree and certificate recipients, and the number of transfers to four-year institutions. And those are the indicators that are covered by this report. The institution set standards were intended to define institutional and academic quality, and should performance ever fall below the established standards, then it should trigger some kind of institutional response to explore the issue, implement strategies to provide additional support for student success and achievement, and improve institutional performance. The Core Indicators Report is designed to help address 2 accreditation standards, which are noted on the slide. So the first within the standards related to academic quality and institutional effectiveness is Standard 1B3, which states that the institution establishes institution set standards for student achievement appropriate to its mission, assesses how well it is achieving them in pursuit of continuous improvement, and publishes this information. And then the second accreditation standard cited here has to do with the governing board's responsibilities, so heads up. And so that is within Standard 4C8, and that standard states that to ensure the institution is accomplishing its goals for student success, the governing board regularly reviews key indicators of student learning and achievement and institutional plans for improving academic quality. Not only is the Core Indicators Report shared with the board each year, but it is also shared with the campus community, including the Planning and Budget Committee, as well as the public through the college website. So the Core Indicators Report helps address the data or the key indicator component of Standard 4C8. Each member institution is required to report performance on these metrics, along with the established institution set standards and stretch goals to the ACCJC via the annual report each year, an annual report that we give to the ACCJC. So not only do we monitor our own performance locally, but the ACCJC monitors performance across the region and incorporates that into its own reports required at the federal level. So let's see, I think the next slide is what we need here. Thank you. So the structure of the 2019-2020 Core Indicators Report, which is the one-page summary page I referenced earlier. So for each institutional performance measure, the report identifies the institution set standard and reports the 2019-2020 performance level alongside each established standard. So these are reported in the shaded columns across the page. The greater than signs across the document indicate that recent performance exceeded the institution set standards, and the check marks at the bottom of each column indicate that the standards were met last year. The Core Indicators Report includes some additional detail or drill down associated with each institutional performance measure. So that drill down includes, and this is going from left to right across the page, the successful course completion rates among certain types of courses, persistence among subsets of students based on their enrollment status, the number of associate degrees for transfer conferred, and the average time to completion among our 2019-2020 awards recipients, and that's below the box in the third column. And then finally, the number of transfers by institution type last year. And the final slide, I think, is the next one. Thank you. So key takeaways and talking points. We are monitoring our institutional performance as a part of our effective practices associated with institutional effectiveness. NVC revisited the locally established standards in 2019. At that time, we increased the standards for all except one measure, and that was the standard for successful course completion remained at the level established in 2013. During the 2019 review process, we also identified stretch goals as required by the ACCJC, and all standards and goals were approved by the Board of Trustees in May of 2019. We exceeded all institution set standards last year, and that includes the metrics with standards that were elevated or increased in 2019. So the percentages noted at the bottom of this slide represent the amount by which our 2019-2020 performance exceeded each institutional standard. And you'll see that the range of how much we exceeded each standard ranges from 3% to 27%. And finally, as noted at the very bottom, for the successful course completion rate, the actual performance rate from last year exceeded the recently established stretch goal. And so we will continue to monitor performance via the core indicators report, and we'll determine whether there's a need to revisit that stretch goal for successful course completion as more data are collected. Finally, regarding the accreditation requirement that we publish this information, the report is posted on the college website and in board documents, and I will send out a message communicating the highlights of the report to the campus community by next week. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Dr. Walner? Yeah, I have a question. I was just, thanks, Chair. In terms of these institutions set standards, what's the degree, like, how are those numbers set? I understand it's set internally, and then, in terms of setting that number, do you kind of see where other community colleges are at? I'm sure that the accrediting commission kind of provides a general basis of where you should be, but I'm just kind of curious how those standards and maybe even those stretch standards, stretch goals kind of compare with other community colleges.
Yes, our local process has been that we work with the, let's see, since this was last year, our committee names might have changed, but at least at the time, I think it was the Student Standards and Practices Committee, so one of the committees within the Academic Senate, I think. So we started with that group, and they reviewed probably 5 or 6 years worth of data and came up with a recommendation for both the institution set standard, which is kind of the floor, right, in terms of academic quality. And again, if we did below it, it should trigger some process. And then the stretch goal, which is kind of a ceiling. And so they were the first point of contact, and they really kind of rolled up their sleeves, looked at the data, and had conversation about that. Then it also went to the Planning and Budget Committee as part of our regular process associated with institutional effectiveness, and then to the board, and that was May of 2019 for approval. In terms of our how we compare to other community colleges, this is really our opportunity. The Accrediting Commission emphasizes that this is an institution set standard, meaning by us, appropriate for us and for our mission, and based on our past performance and what our expectations are for us and for our students. And so there isn't really I guess if we really dug deep or went and researched everyone's websites, we could find it, but it's really about us and how we define quality locally.
Well, I think first of all, thank you. I think the numbers are very impressive, as they always are. I love your reports always. And I feel like we should be able to kind of have a humble brag, but I don't want to, have a humble brag if can't back it up, I guess. But I'll assume it is really good because it looks really great.
I have a kind of a follow-up question to tag on to Trustee Dodd. I'm just curious, and I know I get geek out on statistics kind of the same way Dr. Warnell does, so maybe this wouldn't be too difficult, but I'm just curious if maybe when we do this again next year, if we could also include not just how we compared with our set standard for this year, but how do we compare with, internally looking at our own data from year to year, like maybe like a 3-year, are we, we're always looking at in this report at what we said this year's goal was, and this is where we are now, great. But how does it compare with what we did last year and the previous year? So maybe a whole nother chart to get excited about.
So it's kind of funny. Everybody or some people want more. So we do post, as I mentioned, this is the 7th of its kind, and they're all one page, and they are posted on the RIPI website. So if you have an inclination to look and see what the trends are, we do try to keep this one to one page, since it is, really the purpose of this is to measure against those standards, not, although there is obviously continuous improvement. associated with it. I can tell you without even looking at those reports, the reports from the past, is that, as I mentioned, when we established the standards in 2019, when we revisited those, when we increased the standard associated with the successful course completion rate, there was a lot of discussion about, what would be reasonable and everything. And so they established it at 75%. And then, lo and behold, 1 year later, we've already exceeded that stretch goal, which, right, by definition of a stretch or aspirational goal, we tried to put it out there where it would be challenging to us. So that one definitely we did increase. That said, obviously it was a little bit of a unique circumstance, particularly in spring of 2020. And so that's why I'm not recommending at this time that we have all hands on deck and go back and revisit them again. I think it's wise to monitor for at least another year before revisiting those.
Thank you. Thank you for that. 15.2, Institutional Strategic Plan Revision. Again, Dr. Warnell.
Okay, so this time I'll have Catherine bring up the PowerPoint before I start. Okay, thank you. What is projected in front of you is our current institutional strategic plan, which spans 2018 to 2021. And a document that contains both the current plan and the proposed revision was attached to the agenda item in board docs. As you might have noticed, the current planning and budgeting year represents the final year of the current institutional strategic plan. So in anticipation of that, last year we considered options for revising the current plan or developing a new institutional strategic plan. And the option that seemed best was to revise the current plan to extend it beyond 2021 and to use that as an opportunity to revisit the goals enumerated in the plan. So there are a few reasons that we decided to revise the current plan, and those include first, that a new approach was adopted with the current strategic plan that you see, institutional strategic plan, which you see in front of you. And that new approach was one that focused on a limited number of broad institutional goals. So as indicated here, the current plan includes the 5 of those broad institutional goals. I'll say that the prior institutional plan included approximately 23 much more specific and detailed goals. So it was a pretty major or significant move in terms of a refinement of our practice. So we wanted to have some more time to implement this new approach and have more information for evaluating its effectiveness. The 2018-2019 progress report, which was completed and shared with you last year, summarized accomplishments associated with year 1 of this current strategic plan. And the 2019-2020 progress report, which will come to you later this semester, will be the second summary associated with this current plan. So we just need a little more time to evaluate those formative progress reports and how we're moving the needle forward on the limited number of very broad institutional goals. Also, NVC has extended the life of institutional strategic plans in the past. Recently, our plans have tended to span 3 to 6 years. So the 3-year span of the current plan is on the shorter side of that range. And finally, the extension of the current plan aligns well with our upcoming accreditation review process. And we can use the institutional self-evaluation process as an opportunity to reflect on our practices, evaluate the effectiveness of the new approach, and make refinements if necessary. So as displayed here, the current plan includes 5 goals. The first 3 outline NVC's commitment to support students during their time here by first equipping them with the skills and resources needed for college success, then engaging them while they're here, and then getting them to their educational and job training goals. The remaining 2 goals cover physical stability and collaboration with local partners. So Catherine, if you could advance to the next one, please. Catherine, did you hear me?
Catherine?
Yes, that is your 6. The
Oh,
future
no,
goals.
it's not showing up on this end, I don't think.
Oh, that's
I wonder if you need to
interesting.
maybe unshare and then, or no, it's because it's the same document. Huh.
Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't see that.
You need to activate the next slide.
Maybe start the slideshow. Maybe that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, can you see this? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Okay, so the proposed revisions have been incorporated into this slide, and if it looks or sounds familiar, it's because this information did come to the board as a tentative draft back in June. So the revisions include first extending the plan through 2023, revising the wording of the fiscal stability goal, which is listed here as goal 5. And what we did was we dropped the reference to the transition period for becoming a community supported district. We added a goal associated with equity, and that's listed here as goal 4. And it covers 2 aspects of equity, both the student outcome side and the equity mindedness side. And finally, we made some minor edits, including placing the equity goal so that it kind of bridges the goals associated with student achievement and then the goals associated with our institutional practices. So this final draft mirrors the tentative draft that was presented to you in June. And that draft was first recommended by the Planning and Budget Committee in May. It was then shared with the campus community for feedback at a forum covering both the proposed revisions to the plan and the tentative budget back in May. And then it was shared with you at your meeting in June. So since that time, this plan has gone through review by the campus community at a forum for the final draft last month. And it received endorsement from the Planning and Budget Committee following that forum. We did not receive any suggestions for improvement between the May draft and the proposed final version that's being presented for your consideration. So hence my earlier comment indicating that this might look familiar. As this is an institution level plan, it's coming to you for action this evening. And regarding next steps, once the revised plan is approved, we will develop initiatives, measures, and deliverables associated with that new equity goal. And that is so that we reflect the structure of the other goals in the institutional strategic plan, and it helps lay the groundwork and preparation for subsequent annual progress reports. And we anticipate sharing those initiatives, measures, and deliverables with the board early next semester. And with that, I will turn it back to you for action.
Thank you. You heard that, board. It is an action item. Can I get a motion?
I'll move approval.
May I get a second, please? Okay, move approval by Trustee Baker, second by Trustee Baldini.
Rios.
Sorry.
Oh, come on, Raphael.
You said it so quietly that I thought it was Trustee Baldini in his dungeon. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I often get confused with Trustee Baldini.
Oh, Trustee Baker.
Aye.
Trustee Dodd.
Aye.
Trustee Goff.
Aye.
Trustee Iverson.
Aye.
Trustee Rios.
Aye.
Trustee Baldini.
Aye.
That's a beautiful dungeon, Trustee Baldini. And that's an aye. That's an aye for me as well. And Student Trustee William Shaw?
Aye.
Thank you. So it is approved, Dr. Warnall.
Thank you.
16.1, second reading of Board Policy 2355.
Move approval.
Second. Trustee Dodd.
Moved approval by Trustee Baldini, second by Trustee Dodd. Trustee Baker.
Aye.
Trustee Dodd.
Aye.
Trustee Goff.
Aye.
Trustee Iverson.
Aye.
Trustee Rios.
Aye.
Trustee Baldini,
Aye.
Student Trustee William Shaw,
Aye.
and that's an aye for me as well. So guess what? We're on 17. Standing committees and other appointment reports. And I will start with DOS. Trustee Baker?
Yes. I have somewhere. Darn it, I had it open. Let me look. We did meet, I think it was last week, and we reviewed the last financials for the last year. And oh, here are my notes. Darn it. Okay. We talked about again just kind of what how the pandemic has really kind of cut income and change a lot of what DOS does, which is like things like facilities rentals at the bookstore, the cafe, the trips and tours, all of this stuff that basically that DOS does to bring in income have just kind of went, because of pandemic. So we're doing okay. We're holding our own. We did look at some options for changing the workforce training center and the contract education, how that works, looking at different ways that we might be able to kind of revitalize those programs and make the positions that are over those programs more what's the word I'm looking for? To incentivize getting our staff to really go out and get people to want to participate in these programs. So that's kind of one of the things we talked about. Same thing with the Performing Arts Center to try to do the same thing. But it was pretty much just a, I don't want to say sad meeting, but there wasn't anything that was super exciting because there's just not a lot to do right now with DOS. So with all of the ways that they normally make money just kind of on hold right now. So, but by the same token, our financials are fine. So
good. Oh, good. Thank you. That was a very nice report in hindsight. Trustee Baldini, the VW Foundation Board of Directors.
Unfortunately, due to the current events, the meeting was canceled for October 1st and postponed indefinitely.
Thank you. Legislative Affairs Committee. Trustee Goff?
Yes, we met on September 29th, last Tuesday, to discuss both Prop 15 and 16 with the full intention of bringing resolutions in support of both propositions to the board for consideration. However, considering the current challenges of the wildfires in our community and realizing that we likely wouldn't have unanimous support, the committee has decided not to move forward with a resolution for either proposition. At this time, I'd like to give the mic to Holly Dawson, who can give us updates on other happenings at the Capitol. Thank you, Holly, for doing that.
Of course, thank you. It was an interesting time. The session closed early, and there were about 2,000 bills that had originally been introduced, and less than 500 got through because of COVID and just changes that happen. Some of the bills that went through that have something to do with community colleges and educations and were signed by the governor include AB 70, which has to do for-profit institutions, and I can share more details if you're interested. AB 1460, ethnic studies, AB 2288, nursing programs, AB 2416, satisfactory academic process, AB 2884, lottery dollars, SB 493, sexual violence and harassment, and SB 1232, CalWorks. And those were the only bills that went through that were connected to community colleges. Something that is coming up, though, is there's an existing law that authorizes California Community Colleges Board of Governors in consultation with California State University and UC system to establish a statewide baccalaureate degree program. And the existing law requires that the program consist of a maximum of 15 community college districts with one baccalaureate degree pilot program each.
Right now, there is no opportunity for a community college to create a new program because all 15 spots have been taken. There was a bill in the Senate that would have extended that operation of the program and would have removed the limit of 15 community college districts and allowed for more. However, the new legislation would also provide Napa Valley College the opportunity, if we so desired, to consider creating a baccalaureate program. However, the state legislature, because it cut down the number of bills it considered, the bill that was going through, SB 874, was one of those that did not make it through. The good news is Assemblymember Medina, who is from Riverside, has committed to carrying the bill in the new legislative session, and his aide advises that he's planning to introduce the bill in the new year. So there will be a requirement for community college district to provide evidence of unmet workforce needs to the chancellor, and then the chancellor in turn will consult with CSU and UC on a proposed program. So there's lots more to come, but we wanted to share a brief update, as I know that there have been discussions internally about the possibility and consideration of a baccalaureate program at some point, and this would allow us that opportunity to be considered. Thank you. Unless anyone has any questions.
Well, thank you, Holly. I'll fill in that.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't. I
There we
wasn't
go.
either.
There we go.
Thank you, Holly.
Silenced the room.
Wow.
And I was wondering why Jennifer wasn't listening to me. She was ignoring me. Thank you,
I'm
Holly.
sorry, was it my turn? Was it my turn again?
It's your turn again. Do you want to say anything? You want to add anything to your beautiful report, or
For audit finance?
Audit and finance.
No, the only thing we really did was the budget, and we already did that, so I think we're good.
Yes. Thank you. Real property, Trustee Rios.
No report.
Thank you. McPherson Distinguished Teaching, Trustee Goff.
No report at this time, but we'll see you in the spring.
Okay, cool. The Napa Valley College Foundation, Trustee Iverson.
Well, we have our upcoming meeting this month on the 28th. Our new executive director has been busy working on, scholarships, talking to donors, and Jessica and Ron and I met recently, sat down and discussed some of the direction of the foundation and working on some next steps for the Wine Education Center, which everything that's been happening with the wine industry that impacts some of the direction. But I look forward to having Jessica come in and do an update to the board soon. But a lot of work's been going on out there with the foundation and restructuring. So look forward to bringing you guys some good news in the not so distant future.
Yes, thank you. It would be nice to meet him, her. So
absolutely.
So that's it for reports. Agenda items. Does anybody have anything for future agenda items?
No.
I sent Rosara a kind of wine-soaked brain dump the other day. Sorry about that. Where I was, and it's still a very kind of squishy idea, but I did want to just, I don't know. I'd like to see us maybe do something just in general, a resolution to, I don't know, just committing again our support for the community in general, especially in light of all the fires and everything. And I think that the college is in, like so many different organizations, is a bit of a crummy situation given everything that's going on. But I also think that we are a really good example of resilience, and particularly with our faculty and what they have had to persevere through with all of the, moving everything online. And so I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of change in Napa over the next year because of all of this has been going on. And it's just been kind of a confluence of, again, crappy events. I'm sorry to use that word, but I can't really think of anything more appropriate right now. So it might be interesting just to kind of wait and see. But at the same time, I think it would also be an opportunity for us to really maybe say, we're going to do our darndest. We're going to continue to support our entire community, especially Up Valley, through the Up Valley campus and other programs and things. So I don't know. It was squishy a week ago, and it's still squishy. So I don't know. I need some more wine.
mull over it a little bit more. But it could work out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anybody else have any items for?
I was just wondering what's still on our list.
We're pretty much through it, aren't we, Catherine?
Yes, we have cleared the list. The only remaining item is honorary degrees, and we'll probably have some information about that maybe at the next meeting.
All right. So put your thinking hats on about agenda items. And so we go to 17.3. Jennifer, do you have a report for us? Another report for us.
Another squishy wine soaked report? No, not really. I mean, I will say that even though the board is not going to take a stand, I am going to take a stand. I hope everybody votes yes on Prop 15. I got my mailer yesterday that was all about how horribly misleading it was, but the thing that was misleading was that mailer. We need to support Prop 15. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Trustee Dodd?
Didn't really get an opportunity, but wanted to congratulate Will Shull for taking the step and not only just throwing his name in the ring in an election, but doing it in a really crazy time. I think you'll find it's a pretty steep learning curve to give. I was the first year trustee. I can tell you that from firsthand experience. Recalling that first year. And Catherine, I don't know if there's an opportunity, just because we're so disconnected right now and not able to see each other, if we could maybe perhaps, circulate cell phone numbers or something like that. Just because it'd just be nice, I think, for all of us to touch base and see what Will's interested in and seeing how we can get him more involved in what's going on. This is very much a good learning experience, and we're lucky to have you and wanting to get involved more on the campus. I think you'll find too, whatever, in life, getting involved and taking on these extracurricular activities will serve you well. And want to say, I can get also an opportunity to say thank you to Oscar for I love that student affairs annual report. I think it's amazing. What I love about it too is just how the candor behind it would people talk about what they could do better and kind of opportunities that perhaps they missed. I think don't see that a lot. And people aren't really incentivized to do that. And it's really clear. I really appreciate, that type of discussion. And then obviously last but not least, Chief Wade and the facilities department for their leadership and Dr. Kraft and administration for your leadership and hard work over the last week for evacuees from the glass fires. It's really wonderful stuff.
Thank you. Trustee Iverson?
Just changing diapers.
Okay, we'll come back to
Sorry, I was talking and I was on mute. I just wanted to thank Chief Wade for everything she's been doing with the shelter and on campus and the whole district as a whole. I know these are really trying times with COVID and the fire, so thank you for everything that everybody does. And I hope that COVID ends soon, because I'm tired of it and I want to see everybody again. But nothing else other than big thank yous in my heart going out to our community and those that have a tremendous loss right now. So Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Rios?
I have no report. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Baldini?
Just keep that generator running, Raphael.
I have to go put gas in it right now.
All right. All right, it won't take too long, but welcome, Will, and a big shout out to the faculty and staff for that, the results of the institutional learning outcome report. And then also I echo my fellow colleagues and assisting the community where we can, not only on the academic side, but and career side, but also as a shelter, a place to go. So thank you.
And I had a chance to visit the shelter. It was very well organized. Watching, the social distancing. People seem to be very comfortable and grateful to have a place to stay. So Chief Wade, thank you very much. And thank you to all who assisted her in making this possible. Yeah, it's kind of depressing what went on Spring Mountain Road and Angwin, Deer Park. Oh my God. Prayers, because it's going to be a while before anybody gets over this. It's terrible. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you, Jennifer, like we're here. We should tell them we're here. We're a community college and we support you in many more ways than that. But that's about it. Again, Will, welcome.
Rosa, I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, please.
You skipped me.
I did.
You did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And that's okay. It was really important because I have something that I really need Oscar to hear, that I read the 86-page report. And I just wanted him to know that I read it and that it's very impressive. And thank you. It was really well put together and I loved the suggestions. So I think maybe one of the things that we should consider as a board is really going through those suggestions and seeing what we can do to make some of those things happen. And I reiterate what Trustee Dodd and Baker said. Thank you. And please, in this time, reach out to each other at the polling place. Please vote for Prop 15. I'm with Trustee Baker. This is a time not to be selfish, but really think about how we can benefit others, because let's face it, people, when you die, what good is the money in the bank if your community is in the crapper? So please vote. Please vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I think my puppies are done barking. So with that, our next regular meeting will be November?
Yes, we are not going to need that special meeting in October. So that's free.
No.
And so the next one.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, don't go ahead. I was congratulating Oscar for readership is up 100% on his report, which I think is amazing. That's good. Way to go, Oscar. Yeah. So, sorry. Just for having fun.
Yes. We all can use a good laugh. Thank you very much. We're adjourned for today. We will see you in November. And good night to all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.